Hi, everyone. I'm Mitch Juricich, and welcome to Hooked on the Niners.
And I'm Mark Naismith, and we'll take a look at a disappointing loss to the defending Super Bowl champion New York Giants.
But we're going to look ahead, too, to Thursday night game with the Seattle Seahawks.
And your name is?
Oh, yeah, I'm Jerry Walker.
All right, and as our guest this week, we turn to an old friend, former 49er running back. Harry Sidney is going to be here to tell us what life is like in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and what he's up to. We'll have all that and not a darn thing more right here on Hooked on the Niners.
Hooked on the Niners is brought to you by
Bay 101 Casino, located at 1801 Bering Drive in San Jose. They can be reached at 408-451-8888 or on the web at bay101.com. Since 1994, Bay 101 Casino.
Badges Cafe. Badges Cafe is located in the heart of Mountain View at 2423 Old Middlefield Way. You can reach Badges Cafe at 650-967-7477 or on the web at www.badges.com. Go Niners! College Plaza Shell. College Plaza Shell, located at 1400 West Hillsdale Boulevard in San Mateo, providing automotive service since 1987. You can reach College Plaza Shell at 650-573-7959. That's 650-573-7959.
Psst. Hey, need some video work done? We can do that. We do all that video stuff. We can even put your video on that internet thingy. At Peninsula TV, we do full-blown in-studio production, talk shows, performances, speeches, anything. Remote multi-camera production, on location, at your event. And for the budget-minded, single camcorder production in high definition. We'll take your video project from first idea to finished product. For more info, contact Peninsula TV.
All right, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. Here's the first thing we're going to do. Maybe we're not as good as we thought we were, and maybe Harbaugh isn't the next Bill Walsh, and maybe Alex Smith isn't Joe Montana. Who thought that? I did. Guy out in Livermore, I can see, thought the same thing. JW and I were at a couple of functions during the offseason when I was saying they're going to go undefeated and win everything, and you kept telling me, temper it, you know. Thanks for reeling me in. It's a hard league.
It's a difficult league, and there's a lot of parity.
Yeah.
How would you rather get beat by the defending Super Bowl champions, or would you rather get beat by Buffalo, who got their clocks cleaned the week before?
Yeah.
It's any given Sunday. You don't start talking Super Bowl till week 15, 16, 17, or 18.
Right.
And that's the only thing that I have not enjoyed about the season. Other than that, they'll be back. It's just a loss.
Yeah, Mark?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible game.
Thank you for contributing.
That's all,
yeah.
about all I have to say.
Good night. We'll see you next week, right here. No, I'm sorry.
Well, you know, the Giants have been kind of flying under everyone's radar this year, and they have a good football team. I think it was quite evident yesterday. Their defense has struggled a little bit this year. They certainly showed up yesterday, stopped the 49ers running game, and they've got a very precision offense with a great quarterback. Played a totally complete game and dominated the 49ers. Simple as that.
Let me get down to business. Welcome.
My pleasure to be here.
See you, my man.
Hearing all this knowledge at this table.
Well, no, we want some knowledge.
Oh, okay.
We want some.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, that's why. Were you ever involved in a game like this in your time with the Niners, where you got manhandled by somebody?
You know, I can't think back in the years that I was here from '87 to that point that we got manhandled. But then again, San Francisco got manhandled yesterday because they didn't play their game. Anytime you put the pressure on Alex Smith to be the savior, to be the Joe Montana, that's not what he does. And because the Giants got the early lead and now they forced him to throw the ball, that took away the running game. And there you go.
Fair to say, if you wanted to tie a bow around this and be as succinct as you can be, they beat us at our game. They ran the ball and they stopped the run. True. I mean, that's an old adage that I'm sure people get sick of hearing. But isn't it true?
This game is so simple. We try to make it more complicated than it needs to be. The Giants did what they do best. They ran the ball, played defense, and got some breaks on mistakes.
Yeah.
You had, 22, the cornerback dropped, was it Carlos Rogers?
Yeah.
Dropped an interception that could have been a 95-yarder.
Yeah.
Missed an early field goal. Things
Yeah.
like that, and then all of a sudden a team like the Giants, and we don't like to talk about the Giants, but the Giants been killing Giants for a long time.
Yeah.
They went into Green Bay, San Francisco. We don't want to give credit to Eli Manning as being a great quarterback, but all the guy does is win.
Yeah, the guy is terrific. And you mentioned before we came on the air, right in front of the former special teams captain, that the Niners special teams,
It's really broken down, and one of their strengths last year clearly got a lot of turnovers, and this year, game after game, they're giving up long plays, and it's hurting them. And so nothing worked yesterday.
Yeah.
Offensively, defensively, special teams, Akers, missed field goals, the whole thing. 5 phases, I don't know.
Could it be, on special teams, we lost a guy, Blake Costanzo, who was an absolute tiger. Can one guy on the special teams make that much difference?
Usually, because when you lose one guy, then another guy has to fill his role. Now, when he fills his role, then somebody has to fill his role, so it's a trickle-down effect. It's a trickle-down effect, especially when you have a guy that the other guys are looking to be the leader, to do certain things. When he's gone, okay, who's going to – then everybody starts getting out of their zone because they're trying to be Superman.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be Superman. They just have to do what they do. And that's what happens.
Let me start with you. When you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. Are we dangerously getting to that point?
No, I disagree.
Okay. All right. I'm not saying we're there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear whoever says that Alex Smith is not the guy. I do not want to hear.
Oh,
it.
right, exactly.
He had no help from the offensive line yesterday. He got some bad breaks here and there, and the receivers didn't get all that open. I mean, Alex Smith is partially to blame. The offensive line is partially to blame. The defensive line is partially to blame, and special teams. It was an overall team effort yesterday.
The one thing that, and I agree with you, the one thing that I don't kind of understand, and I'll throw it to you, Harry, you throw the long pass down to Randy Moss. And then you come in with the new quarterback who promptly takes an 11-yard loss.
I know coaches do that, and they try to have all these different packages because they say, no, we're going to let you play this play. Why do that? Like the guy was in there twice, now it's 3rd and 5, and you put Alex Smith, and you go, okay, save the day.
Yeah, right. And it gets back to what you said. He's not that kind of quarterback.
But what happened if it worked? Would you be saying this if it worked?
Well, here's my analogy, and I'll throw this at you. You have a sports car that you use on weekends, right?
No, I don't.
Well, let's say you do.
Like
you have a convertible sports car that
Sounds good.
that you use on weekends once in a while.
What kind of car is it?
Never mind. And do you see why this is the smart side of the
I see.
table?
I hear you.
All right. Okay.
I'm sitting back. I'm watching.
Okay. But you decide, I think I'll take it to work on Monday. I kind of like driving this thing. And you take it with the top down and a thunderstorm comes. You get my analogy there?
No,
you don't.
Not at all. No.
They used him maybe just a little bit too much. I mean, he's okay for Wildcat, but that's more than a couple of plays.
But he's been pretty successful in the first couple of games. They've fooled some teams. They didn't fool the Giants yesterday. They were well prepared for him, for his running. He threw the ball downfield a couple times because I think that's what they have him to do, and they closed on him almost every time except for maybe one ball.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
We don't ask you too many questions.
What kind of sports car do you drive on Monday? No.
Were you not surprised that the Niners didn't come after Eli Manning after what they did in the NFC Championship game? They rushed him incessantly, knocked him down 6 times. They didn't touch him yesterday.
I am shocked.
How do they not do that?
I can't recall. I remember one good play he made. But outside of that one play, I don't know if Aldon Smith played yesterday.
There was no, and that surprised me, the consistent pressure that you thought they would get. At least you thought it'd hit them to rattle them a little bit. There was none of that.
You asked me a question, I thought it was pretty tough, and I just shoved it to Harry. That was a lateral right there.
Did they not put pressure on him, or were they not allowed to put pressure on him because the offensive line at New York did so well?
I think you'd be the first guy to say that the guys that wear the numbers in the 60s, 70s, and 50s win and lose these games.
Well, that's the thing. It's all about the battle in the trenches.
Yeah.
If your defensive line can oppose their will and get to a quarterback, and Eli, because Eli has been known to throw it up. He doesn't like taking hits. That didn't happen, so he was allowed to be comfortable. And once you take allow a quarterback to be comfortable, and you let him get off early like he did, there were some nice outs that he was throwing, and Mix was catching the ball. And I think there was a couple of times there was one controversial call when I thought it should have been a drop, but they called it catch. That changed things. That changed things, and it looked like the 49ers can never seize the momentum.
Yeah.
The crowd never was allowed to get in the game, and the Giants did a good job of making sure that didn't happen.
That's the first game I've sat outside in the crowd since we played in Barcelona 20 years ago. I've never heard that crowd so quiet as the second half of that game yesterday.
I guess the bottom line to this whole thing, and players know this as well, we're just going to have to wear this. The Giants beat us the last 2 times fair and square. I mean, there's no, hey, this referee, fair and square, we got it handed to us.
What a better time to get them back than maybe January.
Absolutely, we'll get them back in January. Okay, when we come back, we're going to ask Harry what he's up to. It's pretty interesting stuff. You're going to want to pay attention to this because I think this guy is on a mission, and it's real good stuff to listen to when we come back right here on Hooked on the Niners.
Brought to you in part by Woodmont Real Estate Services, a friend of the community since 1963. Woodmont Real Estate Services is located at 1050 Ralston Avenue in Belmont, California, and can be reached at 650-592-3960 or at www.wres.com. Vivace Ristorante. Vivace Ristorante is located in the heart of Belmont at 1910 Ralston Avenue. They can be reached at 650-637-0611. That's 650-637-0611 or on the web at www.vivacerestaurant.com. Gando Design. For 25 years, Gando Design is located in Redwood City. Their website is gandodesign.com/specials. Gando Design, sponsor of Hooked on the Niners. Peninsula TV is now live streamed on the internet. Watch us from anywhere you have an internet connection, on cable, on the net, and on that fancy mobile device. Just go to pentv.tv.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. Our old pal Harry Sidney is here, running back and special teams wonderkind for the 49ers in the 80s. And before we get to what you're doing, I'm just going to bring back one game. We talked about in the Giants game how the Giants' offensive and defensive lines dominated throughout the game. Probably the only game I saw where the 49ers were being dominated like this, but then the 49ers turned it around in the fourth quarter, was a game you guys played in Philadelphia against the Eagles.
Remember that?
4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Remember that?
No offense, us, because we always use us and we.
Yeah.
We're getting hammered.
Big time.
Pummeled.
Big time.
And fourth quarter, boom, 28 points.
Light went on. Joe Montana with crazy Jerry Rice. We ran some, I think I had like 5 or 6 catches because we ran some halfback options, and all of a sudden Joe just clicked. But the thing about it is, when you're playing against a great team, you have to kill them. You have to put them out to misery. Yeah. And that game, Philadelphia did damage, but they stopped.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and this is why the game is such a crazy game of momentum.
Yeah.
In this game, once momentum hits and takes over, and you have the great players say, okay, they feel it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Quick sidebar?
Yeah.
I'm on the sidelines the last couple of minutes of that game. The sideline phone rings, and it's ringing. It's the offensive phone. Nobody's answering, so I pick it up as Holmgren. Jerry, is Joe around? I said, yeah, down there on the bench. Tell him do not throw into double coverage. Tell him do not throw into double coverage. Okay. Next touchdown pass into double coverage. I called back up to Mike, what do you want? Make sure I get credit for that.
All right, Harry, again, you played with us for a while. Coached up at Green Bay with Mike Holmgren, who we just talked about.
Very fortunate to win another Super Bowl up there.
And then suddenly had an opportunity to go to other NFL teams, maybe even some colleges, and decided, what did you say, what am I chasing?
What am I chasing is lucky. I was a guy that got cut cut from Seattle in 1981, got cut from Cincinnati in 1982, played in the USFL for 3 years, started that league up, and I remember trying out and making $10 a day in training camp.
Oh, wow.
Making the team, and played for 3 years, and then went to Canada. And then I wind up sticking here in '87. winning a couple Super Bowls, and then I retired and coached with the Packers under Mike Holmgren. And then when Ray Rose was on the staff, got fired, was on that team, and had the opportunity to coach other places, Philadelphia, Andy Reid, Mighty Morningwig, Detroit, called me a lot of different teams because it was West Coast offense. And at that time, I married a beautiful woman and had a blended family of 8 kids. And I go, what am I chasing? Why am I still chasing the NFL? Because I never was a money guy. And so I retired and opened up a program called My Brother's Keeper, a male mentoring program, to help boys and men learn the skills necessary to make their life better. So I just became a coach of something more important.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a nonprofit. And Mark here is the CEO here at Penn TV, which is a nonprofit. And you worked a lot in the nonprofit
Great
world.
stuff. It's where all the heroes
so
are.
you can see what he's up against.
Absolutely. It's where the heroes are.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mentoring program for men, and it's ages
11 to 65, because we all got stuff. We all have issues.
I have 3 months left. What's that toll-free number?
It's just a thing of, and one of the reasons we started, because what we realized is I retired from coaching and looked around Green Bay, and Green Bay is a great place. But what I realized is there was an epidemic going on. There were a lot of great programs for women, domestic abuse, child care, a lot of great programs, and they're awesome. But a lot of those programs, in my opinion, were the trickle-down effect of men not doing their job, and nobody was teaching the men.
Sure.
Nobody was teaching men about being a man of integrity, respect, standards, what you're chasing, all those things.
Right.
And so our program is basically geared to stop guys from falling in the hole.
Did you see this sort of stuff in him when he was with the Niners?
He was always a leader. Even as a special teams player, he was always a leader, yes.
And I always remember him as being one of the guys in the locker room when I was covering it for a TV station that you could go to. Win, lose, whatever, play bad, play well, you could go to this guy. So how many people come under the umbrella there?
Since 2003, we have worked with over 10,500 boys and men.
Wow.
We work with the school system, work with the state as far as I go into the juvenile detention center every Tuesday to work with the kids that were arrested over the weekend, to sit down and have a chance to talk with them about, because a lot of young people think they know what's best. So I love going to the juvenile detention center and say, well, how's your way working? How's your way working? Because those are times when they have to take a look at themselves and realize, man, there's some bad choices that are going on, and we get into why those bad choices are happening, because a lot of people get caught up in the drinking and drugs. They think that's the problem. My philosophy is different. Why are you doing the drinking? Why are you doing the drugs? Because if we can eliminate those things, then we can eliminate the drugs. And so it's just a different approach.
And have you seen the results of people that have come through the program that have gotten on the straight and narrow?
Oh, we have our success ratio is about 83%.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's about taking control of your life. And a lot of guys want to do that, but they don't know how to. And they let other things get in the way. And so what we do is help them learn how to control themselves. Because if they do that, I mean, we have guys that have gone on to be ministers, guys that have gone into the services, guys that now have their kids back, guys now, and we also help them find jobs for a young guy, because it's one thing to say we want you to change, but we got to give them a reward for changing. To start them going in the right direction. So we're very fortunate to have a great support staff. My wife, we work together, have a great grant writer, marketing guy, and since we live in the Green Bay, it's our home. So either you're part of the solution or part of the problem.
Mark, I'm going to throw this at you again because you've spent so much time in that corridor of our planet here. In Green Bay, a nonprofit like him, and I'm sure that they're doing well, but it's easier when you're in a big major metropolitan area. I mean, for grant writing and for people to give you money.
In my experience, I think if the mission's right and the story's right, there's a lot of money out there, whether you're in little town USA or New York City, and the kind of work that Harry's doing. Work like that is done in our community here, but it's really good stuff, and people look after everyone who does that kind of work. Yeah,
and you mentioned something before we came on the air. You were talking about guys that have the 2-hour commute, to work, and you said, heck, I could be in Chicago from.
There's so much of this part of the world, San Francisco, San Jose. Awesome. We flew in Thursday. We got to go see Napa. Down to the wharf. It's awesome. But I tell you what, man, you guys can have that 2-hour traffic. You can have that sitting in the car for 2 hours.
Ask Jerry.
It's funny because they asked Jerry yesterday. Say, Harry, it's about, you got to make sure you leave early. It's about an hour to get there. I said, it's only 15. See, but the traffic, and I forgot just what it is. But it's amazing. He said he took him 2-some hours to get here from Green Bay. I can get to Chicago.
Yeah.
I can get to Chicago in about the time it takes him to get from us. So I don't miss that. There's a lot of things I miss here. But like I tell
What's
people,
the temperature right now in Wisconsin?
Well, see, that's the thing we talk about missing.
Yeah. All right, we'll pick this up in the next segment. A little trivia here. One of the, I don't know, 9 or 10 guys that threw a touchdown pass to Jerry Rice, it was wobbling, and Jerry made it.
Oh, you kidding me,
Jerry
man?
made
You kidding me?
Jerry went up
But I
between
was the
5
first,
guys.
No, I was the first.
Triple
It was
coverage.
pretty.
Come on.
Oh, it was pretty.
When we come back, we'll talk about Seattle. Right.
Wobbling. Where's he doing?
It was horrible. It was going like
Oh,
this. It was a helicopter pass.
It's too early in the morning to be on that stuff.
How many touchdown passes have you thrown to Jerry?
Not that many.
Oh, let me think.
Hooked on the Niners is brought to you in part by Old County Custom Framing, located at 1339 Old County Road in Belmont. You can reach Old County Custom Framing at 650-596-2767. That's 650-596-2767. Go Niners! California Catering Company of San Mateo, proudly serving our community at 233 West 20th Avenue in San Mateo. California Catering can be reached at 650-345-4811, extension 1. The San Mateo Credit Union, serving San Mateo County for over 60 years. They can be reached at 650-363-1725. That's 650-363-1725. Or on the web at www.smcu.org. San Mateo Credit Union.
Hey guys, Will Durst here for my good friends, well, acquaintances at Penn TV, the place for what's happening in San Mateo County, and lots more too. Visit Penn TV on your local cable TV provider or live on the web at www.penntv.tv. Hey, they do good stuff.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. I mean, we could make this a 2-hour show just based on what's been going on here in between the ad breaks here. All right, Seattle coming up. Suddenly, this is a team that I personally didn't see coming, but defensively, these guys are pretty good, Mark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Second in the league in stopping the run, which should be interesting for the 49ers, who go to that card. Very good run defense, and currently allowing the second least points per game in the NFL.
Right.
So this defense has really emerged. A lot of young guys, fast, and they're winning games for them.
Yeah.
And their offense is staying close, and 4-2.
Corners play up tight. That's their defensive philosophy.
They're a little cocky.
They're big, but they're big corners, big physical corners, because they match up against Green Bay when they had the miracle, the catch on that Monday night.
The non-catch.
The non-catch.
Right.
Well, guess what? Scoreboard.
Right.
But the thing about it, if you look at Seattle and San Francisco, aren't they the mirror of each other?
Yes, they are.
They kind of are.
Yes, they are.
They kind of
That's
are.
a good call.
And, you know, I was the first guy that said when they decided to choose the quarterback they did instead of Flynn from
Russell Wilson.
I said, oh, come on, he's from Wisconsin. They didn't throw the ball. How good can this guy be? Well, you know, foot's halfway in my mouth.
But, you know, their record is 4-2 with an asterisk.
Right, okay,
It's
3
3-2 or
right.
3
Yeah.
Wilson, very poised guy, transferred from NC State, so I think he threw the ball a little more
Probably
before he came to Wisconsin. But I think the other thing is that we haven't talked about is Joe Staley going down. So Clemens is a very good pass rusher from the end, and the rookie Ivy is showing up a little bit. So there's going to be some mixing and matching. It looks like Boone may go out to tackle, and Davis was a little shaky yesterday. So very, very tough issue for the Niners to face.
And as you always say, you know, it takes time for an offensive line to gel, and if you start moving the parts around, you know, that certainly doesn't help. And we should mention that as we're taping this, we don't know the status of Joe Staley. He was walking off the field. He looked okay, but I'm going to turn to a guy who I remember I interviewed back in
Long time ago.
Long time ago, you had a concussion.
Oh, I've had
you said,
several concussions.
And you said it was like a portion of your life is gone because you don't remember a certain amount of time.
I remember my serious concussion, I didn't think, but I remember we played against the Rams on Monday night, and I think I scored 2 touchdowns, and then I go to the sideline. I got hit. Welsher, the outside linebacker, hit me in the knee in the helmet. I played 6 plays that I didn't know I played until I watched them on the field.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
On Monday. I remember against the Raiders going down, and my job on punt return was setting the wall, and I'd take the kill shot.
Yeah.
Well, when you dish it out, sooner or later you have to take it.
Yeah.
And I remember going and playing against the Raiders and getting hit, and there was a penalty coming out there, and it was the most bizarre thing. I was watching myself run. It was like I was behind myself watching myself run.
Oh, wow.
Concussions, they're part of the game, but unfortunately now, anytime you get a concussion, I was surprised that the quarterback of Washington, Griffin, wind up playing that game. But when you're an offensive lineman and you get hit different things and you're always dealing with that it'll be surprised the way they have to go through all the tests for a guy to get a concussion in 1 week and be back playing the next week. And
you, having been in PR, you would hear in the press box things like Harry Sidney has a mild concussion. Whether he comes back or not is questionable. We don't. You might be back for the second half.
Yeah. Well, remember, I don't know if you were with us or not, but Dwight Clark got a concussion in Milwaukee playing the Packers, and they took the helmet away from him. The doctors are talking to Dwight, trying to find out if he's clear enough head-wise to go back in. Who are we playing? And Dwight looks out there. The Packers. Where are we playing? Green Bay. No, Dwight, we're in Milwaukee. You're not getting a helmet back yet.
Well, my favorite one was the guy, and this is an old story from some old friends of mine, that there was a guy playing at Cal, and he was on the field, and they thought he had a concussion, and they said, "What's your name?" And he answered, "And what are you doing?" Playing football for Cal. And they said, "Okay," and then he stopped, and he goes, "What are all these people doing here?" And that's, "Okay, come with me, son, sit down right here." All right, Seattle, we got less than 2 minutes. Winnable game, obviously, but what do the Niners have to do, Harry? We've got about a minute and a half.
Well, the thing about it is the Niners can't make mistakes. They can't make mistakes. And one of the things they can't let Russell Wilson get out the pocket. Because that's one of the things he does well, the bootlegs, things like that. If he gets out the pocket, he can hurt you with his legs. Doesn't have an overly strong arm, but they have to seize to take advantage of every mistake they have, because Seattle's going to try to make the game close.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to try to make it. It's going to be an ugly game, a physical game. And this is one of those games where special teams, a game like this where special teams has to be better because they can take advantage of the situation.
Okay, we got about 30 seconds left. Give me
I'm
your
not giving you a score. I gave you a 35-14 last week.
Okay.
No score. Imperative game. First conference game back-to-back with Arizona after this.
Right.
It really counts now. They got to go in there and win the game.
I couldn't agree more. Harry, I can't
My
thank
pleasure,
you enough.
man.
It's
My
good
pleasure.
To see you.
Yes.
And I still have that money from the golf course.
All right, there you
well
go.
Invested. Best of luck.
I'm waiting for you to get back. I'm just going to let it get interest. We'll meet again.
Best of luck with your program
My
up there in
pleasure.
Green Bay, too. All right, we'll see you next week right here on Hooked on the Niners.
Harry, great job.
Good job. Good stuff, man.
Thank you.
Man,
That
you
is.
did better than I thought you would.
Yeah. Chit-chat. We're just chit-chatting a little bit. We're going off the air here.